Hi, folks. My name is Mr. Thomas, and I'm your instructor for Dmpt 1600 Intro to Videography here at Georgia Piedmont Technical College for the spring 2021 semester. First of all, I want to start off this walkthrough video by telling you that this is an all virtual course. It's all online. You will never report to campus for this course. Now, I know that's rather unusual, bearing in mind the title of the class, Intro to Videography. You would normally expect to have lots of hands-on experience with cameras and lights and things like that. And we normally do that. However, unfortunately, because of the coronavirus pandemic, all the classes for the spring 2021 semester are going to be virtual. So we've had to make some adjustments to the normal way that we teach the course. You will never come to class and come to the studio and use the equipment that we have there. So this class is going to rely largely on your use of smartphones. Your smartphones, I believe most people should have them. You probably have one. If you don't, you definitely need to contact me so we can make arrangements. But you'll find that this class is mostly a cinematography class. Okay, so cinematography is basically we call it the use of lens and light. Okay, a lens is something that goes on a camera. So we're talking about camera work, how to operate the camera, not just how to operate the camera, but also composition. That's more of the artistic side of camera work. Composition is where you place the objects in the image or where you place the objects in the frame. So if you have a little boy kicking a ball, is a little boy kicking the ball on the left side of the image, the left side of the frame, or on the right side of the image, the right side of the frame? That's called composition. These are not arbitrary choices that you're making. Every choice you make in regards to composition will tell you something different about the content of your scene or your movie, or will tell you something different about your style as a cinematographer or as a director. So composition is critically important, and that's what the focus is mostly going to be as far as any practical projects that we have in the course. Now, we're going to have lots of other things related to a little bit of history, a lot of theory that applies directly to when you're out and you're shooting, and that you are supposed to use when you shoot your projects, when you do the practical part on your own with your smartphone, when you shoot the project. But I felt it was important to start off the walkthrough by clarifying that point. Okay, it's far from a perfect solution. It's not a solution that we prefer, but once again, because of the necessities of keeping everyone, student and instructor, safe and healthy through this coronavirus pandemic, we've had to make the tough choice of offering this course, but only offering it online. We also know that in addition to not having the same cameras we have at school at your house, for example, and not having a lot of other equipment, we also know that you don't have lights. So we'll talk a lot about lighting, but we fully understand that you're not going to have the same lighting equipment at home. But that doesn't impact the principles. Light does what it's going to do regardless of what kind of instrument or utensil you have to actually light it. So talking about the behavior of light, the different artistic effects of light, things like that are very valid, and we'll talk about those things, although you won't be able to come into school and use the lighting equipment that we have there. So I guess I kind of gave you a good introduction to the course. It's called videography, but the focus is solidly on camera work and lighting. It's a very critical course because of the fact that as you work your way through your middle and upper level courses at the school in the Dmpt department, you'll find yourself definitely relying on the knowledge that you gained in this course. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is we'll start off by looking at the Blackboard site for the course. And the Blackboard site for the course, this is Blackboard right here, and it is mine looks a little different from yours because of the fact that I'm an instructor. So these are all the classes that I'm teaching this semester. However, when you log into Blackboard, you should just see the courses that you are taking. By the way, before I leave this home page here, if you look to the left under the tools section, you'll see things like, well, actually it's in help and resources. You'll see things like help desk request form, okay? And also under tools, Blackboard help for students. Okay, so if you have any problems or issues or you need to contact Blackboard support, that's how you would do it, under help and resources or under tools. Okay, so tools is more self-guided. Help and resources is more if you need somebody to actually help you, like help desk request form. There's also a browser check. Help desk request form is how you ask for help from one of the Blackboard administrators. The browser check just basically checks to see if your browser works well with Blackboard, because not all browsers work well with Blackboard. To be honest with you, the best browser is Google Chrome. It's totally free. So I would highly recommend, if you can, go ahead and download Google Chrome and use that for pretty much all of your web surfing, but definitely for Blackboard. So, and also you have the Blackboard support hours section down here. Okay, so this is your class right here, Dmpt 1600, course recognition number 42011. We're going to click on that link, and it's going to take us to the class website. And the first section that we're going to see is the announcement section. The announcement section is extremely important because of the fact that anytime I communicate with you about a quiz that's posted, or a midterm or final that's coming up, or a project that's due, I'll communicate it through the announcements. And the announcements will give you basically at the beginning of every week, usually either Sunday night at the beginning of the week or Monday morning at the beginning of the week, you will see a checklist of things that are going to happen during the week as far as the class is concerned, like any quizzes that are due, any projects that are due, if there's a midterm exam, things like that. Some of the information will be for maybe a few weeks from the point of the announcement. For example, I may remind you about a project that's due a few weeks after the current week that the announcement is for. So if we're in week 1 and there's a project due in week 4, I'll remind you in week 1 and week 2 and things like that, just so we can get it on your radar. So I don't tell you on the beginning of week 4, hey, there's a project due, and you're shocked and you have to scramble to get it done in that week. So you can kind of start ahead of time if you want to. So make sure you check the announcement section of Blackboard frequently. Make sure you check your school email account frequently as well, because typically at the beginning of the week, I'll make the announcements in the announcement section, and I'll also email a copy, 1 or 2 copies, to your school email address. So please make it a habit of checking the announcement section and also your email as well. Those are the 2 major ways that I communicate with you, especially in a virtual context like this. As far as contacting me, if you need to contact me, you can always do it via email. My email address is Thomas, THOMASJ, @gptc.edu. And you can, we can correspond with each other through email. Or if you want to do more face-to-face, of course, we won't, while the pandemic is on, we're not going to be doing any face-to-face on campus or anything. However, we can arrange a video chat on Blackboard Collaborate. That is our version of Zoom. So you can email me and we can set up an appointment time if you want to talk to me over video chat about something. I invite you to do that. If you even have an inkling of an idea that may be necessary, I want to encourage you to do that. We can schedule a time. Okay, so here is a list of announcements. Once again, they'll always be there over the course of the semester. All right. So let's take a look at course content. The course content section right here. The course content section is where you'll find folders on quizzes, exams, and projects. We have 1 quiz almost every week of the semester. The quizzes are based on 2 things: your readings in the textbook, as well as the PowerPoints. If there is a PowerPoint that's available for a chapter that I've made, the quizzes will also cover the PowerPoints. Okay, so for example, in your first quiz will be on chapter 1 of the textbook and the accompanying PowerPoint that went with it. And as you can see, here's a list of the quizzes right here. Here are just 6 of the quizzes. There will be more by the time you see it, but here are 6 of the quizzes. To get into a quiz, once you've got into the quizzes folder, you just simply click on it and hit begin, and you can take the quiz. After you're done with the quiz, you click in the correct bubble. Okay. Hit save and submit. Hit save and submit when after you have completed a quiz. Sometimes people make the mistake of either starting a quiz and not completing it, or starting a quiz and not doing it. And what happens is that Blackboard will register your attempt at that quiz as eternally pending. You won't get a grade for it. And when I look at your quiz, you'll see that the questions that you did answer are graded, but all the other questions that you didn't answer are basically marked wrong. So you need to make sure that when you start a quiz, you finish it in one sitting. If for some reason something goes wrong and you get kicked out of a quiz early, then you need to contact me and let me know as soon as possible. Some students have problems with quizzes and they won't tell me about it until 8, 9, 10 weeks later when we're about to finish up for the semester. That's always a bad idea, because the further something gets out, the further away we get from an event like that, the harder it is to go back and make the changes. So as soon as if you have a problem, like the quiz kicked you out before the hour-and-a-half time limit that you have, make sure you email me, let me know, so we can work on it and get the problem fixed. I do not do makeup quizzes. I do not do extra credit. Okay? Get it right the first time. We're going to get you trained in how they do things in the film, television, graphic design, and 3D animation world. You're working for clients in most cases, and you have one chance to win the client or keep the client or get the job. So that's why I don't do makeup work. I don't do extra credit. Get it right the first time. So in addition to quizzes, of course, we have, might go to the course content section. We have the midterm exam and we have the final exam. Only the midterm exam is there for now, but it's the same idea. You click on the midterm exam and it would show you, you would start the quiz, you start the exam, and this will become available to you only in week 9. It's week 9 that's going to become available to you. Okay, so you won't have any availability to the midterm exam before week 9, but the quizzes, all the quizzes we're going to have for the semester will be available to you very early in the semester. Most of them will be available to you starting on January the 11th. If you want to read ahead in the book and in the PowerPoints, you can take the quizzes before the deadline. Okay, know that you'll be able to take the quizzes as early as you want. However, each quiz does have a deadline. So if you forget a quiz or miss a quiz, you can't come back 2, 3, 4, 12 weeks later and take that quiz and make it up. Absolutely not. When the window closes on that quiz, it's done. So please make sure you're aware of the deadlines on those quizzes. Make sure you don't miss them. For example, I'll show you on this first quiz. It's available now, but it will only be available until January the 24th. That's a Friday at 11:59 p.m. That's the end of day Friday. So the important thing is that make sure you take that quiz before that deadline so that it'll count. Okay, because if you pass it, you miss it, too bad. Sorry, can't take it. All right, same thing goes for exams as well. Also, we're going to have projects. We're going to have several projects in the course. Projects have several elements to them. First of all, each project will will tell you what to do for the project on a sheet called the project assignment sheet. You can find the project assignment sheet in the projects folder, and that project assignment sheet will give you all the criteria that you need to hold to as you work on these projects. Students who mess up on the projects, it's usually for one of 3 reasons. Well, the first reason is not a reason to mess up. They do a good job in the project, and they read the project assignment sheet carefully several times while they're doing the project assignment. While they're doing the project, they have the project assignment sheet right there with them, and they're doing everything it says on the project assignment sheet and checking it off like a checklist. That's what you should be doing. However, there are people who will either give it a cursory glance, a quick glance, a project assignment sheet, and try to remember all of it and try to do it all. And there are other people who won't even bother to read the project assignment sheet. They'll just do what they think is right. Okay. These last 2 people are people that you do not want to be, because as I check your project, I will be looking at the project assignment sheet like a checklist and checking off everything I'm expecting to see in your project. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure you are very familiar with the project assignment sheet and have it with you as you complete the project. Also, you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to complete these projects, folks. One of the biggest issues people have is time management and procrastination. They'll wait until the last minute to do these projects, and as a result, because they're just trying to turn in their project and get some grade, okay? Usually when they do rush work like that, when I say usually, I'm meaning like 99% of the time, the work is terrible. The work is horrible, and their grade reflects it. And the little amount of effort that they put into it, it shows in their work, and it was just a waste of time anyway because they got a D or an F anyway. So please make sure that you give yourself enough time. Give yourself a break. That means don't wait until the last minute where your back is against the wall and you have to just get anything in. Don't do that to yourself. Make sure that you read the syllabus so you know when everything is due. Make sure you pay attention to your announcements and your emails so you know when the projects are due. And do this, start on these projects way ahead of time. Even if you start much earlier than you normally would and you work on it a little bit a day, that's great. That's fine. Just make sure that you don't let that deadline sneak up on you and you haven't done anything. Okay, so you'll have 3 to 4 projects over the semester. And once again, those projects will rely on your ability to demonstrate different principles that you learned in the text and in the PowerPoint with your smartphone. Okay. Once again, if any of you don't have a smartphone, don't have access to anything like that, please let me know because that's something we would need to work on as soon as possible. Okay, so let's take a look at the syllabus. The syllabus, by the way, is found in the syllabus and no-show assignment section right here. I'm going to click on that. And there's your spring 2021 syllabus. Before I get into the syllabus while I'm here, let's talk about the no-show assignment and the work ethics assignment. It is critically important that you complete these 2 items. I'm going to click on the no-show assignment here. And when I click on that, there is an item here called no-show assignment. Click on that right there, and it looks just like a quiz. I'm going to click begin, and it's just like 4 questions. These questions don't count for anything. These questions are not going to impact your grade at all, but the no-show assignment and the ethics, the work ethics quiz, and I'll show you where that is. Go into the work ethics folder, work ethics quiz. Same idea, hit begin. You have 4 questions. They're critically important because it is basically your proof that you actually showed up to class in the first couple of weeks of the semester. The deadline for the no-show assignment and the work ethics quiz is January the 24th, 2021 by 5 p.m. That is a Sunday. It is critically important that you get the work ethics quiz and the no-show assignment. Make sure you get that done before the deadline because if you do not, the registrar will drop you from the course. And it's just like you were never enrolled. You won't get a grade. You won't get credit. You won't get credit for it, and you won't even be able to log into your Blackboard site. So please, 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 if it's the first thing you do is really, I would complete the work ethics assignment and the no-show quiz, or the no-show assignment and the work ethics quiz. I would do those first, even before you read the syllabus, because of the fact that you don't want to forget it and then end up getting knocked out of the class because you didn't complete that. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our spring 2021 syllabus. It's a Word document. If there are any changes that need to be made to the syllabus, I will let you know. Normally, I will just tell you, what we're doing every week in the announcements. Yes, it is important that you read the syllabus, but I'll let you know of any changes that are made to the syllabus when we make them. 1600. Okay. Here you go. All right. So this is our syllabus for the course. I showed you where you can find it. I definitely recommend that you download the syllabus and read it thoroughly. We're not going to go through it word for word here because it would take way too long. This is 5 pages, but it is important that you have it on file and that you read it very thoroughly. The syllabus is my contract with you, and you're in contract with me. So you know what this class is going to expect of you. You know what I expect of you. Just as a course description, this course is an introduction to the creative and technical aspects of video production. You are going to learn the basic terminology and techniques of video production through analysis of produced video works, as well as hands-on experience with your own smartphone. Students will be introduced to basic digital production, including pre-production planning, camera operation, framing, lighting, sound, post-production with basic editing. Now that's very, very prodigious. Most of our focus, especially now that we're virtual, is on the art of composition and shooting with the camera, which translates from your smartphone to any camera you can purchase. Of course, the buttons may be different. There are many more bells and whistles on a professional digital camera, but that's not important. The important part is, do you know how to compose an image? Can you apply the principles that you learned in Dmpt 1000 to what you're doing behind the camera? That's what the most important part is. Here's my contact information. We're not on campus right now. You'll never be on campus, well, for this semester as a student. However, there may become a time where I return to campus and I am in my office. If that's the case, and you need to contact me, you can call me at this number and extension. I always tell people, especially during this coronavirus crisis, please do not come to my office. We want to make sure that everybody is safe and healthy. So if you need any help and we're on campus and I'm on campus, I would still recommend that you email me or call, just to keep everyone safe during this coronavirus pandemic. So I know I'm not going to be returning to campus before January the 25th. That's what the president of the school has said. After January 25th, we'll see. It depends on what the coronavirus numbers are looking like. Okay. All right. And if you would like to, I think I may have mentioned it earlier. If you'd like to speak to me face to face, you can email me and you can set an appointment for a virtual or video chat appointment conference with me using Blackboard Collaborate. This is a textbook. It's called The Video Shooter 3rd Edition, Mastering Storytelling Techniques 3rd Edition by Barry Braverman. Okay, this is a very important part to get down, because of the fact that you must purchase the textbook for this course. That is a non-starter if you do not buy the textbook. All right. Here's what the textbook looks like. It is in the school bookstore. You do not have to go to the school bookstore to purchase it, though. You can either reach the bookstore through the school's website online, or you can call the bookstore. Okay, they have access to all of your financial aid information, so they can arrange purchase of a book online or on the phone and using your financial aid, and they can even mail it out to you. When this pandemic started, when we first started canceling classes back in summer of 2020, the bookstore would pay for postage to have your book mailed to you. I believe they're still doing that, but you may be able to find a less expensive version of the textbook on Amazon.com, on Thrift Books, or on any other website. Not having the book at the time of the semester is no excuse for doing the work. No excuse for not doing the work. I do not wait because people say, "Oh, my textbook is still not in yet." You must find a way to get that textbook by the time your first quiz comes up, and good enough time so you can read that material and you can perform well from the very first day. Okay, so do what you have to do to get this textbook. Remember, you want to make sure it's the 3rd edition. Please do not get another edition, because different editions may not follow along with the syllabus and the PowerPoints and the way I've laid out the course. So it's Video Shooter, Mastering Storytelling Techniques by Barry Braverman, 3rd edition. It's very easy to find. Okay. All right. So go ahead and read the rest of this in your own time. Know that there's a supplemental syllabus that talks more about general rules and policies of the school online at the school's website, gptc.edu/supplemental-syllabus. It'll add information to your knowledge base, such as withdrawals, so special services, technical support, things like that. Okay. Also, you want to make sure you're aware of the course competencies and student learning outcomes. These are the things that you are going to know by the time you leave this course. Okay. Work ethics and course policies, always important. Just wanted to emphasize, I don't accept late submissions for any project. No makeup quizzes that you missed. I do not do extra credit. Get it right the first time in a timely manner. Okay. Communication, if you communicate with me by email Monday through Thursday, I should get back to you within 24 hours. However, if you communicate with me by email Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I will answer that email on Monday. We don't work on weekends around here because we work during the week. So please make sure that you realize that if you email me at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning, you're not going to hear from me at 2:15 a.m. on a Saturday morning. You're not going to hear from me until sometime on Monday. So please bear that in mind and allow for proper time. The proctored event is something that is required for every single student, especially now that we are virtual. Basically, the proctored event will be paired with our final exam. In our particular case, your proctored event and final exam will happen on April the 26th, 2021 between 12 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. At this particular point in time, we convene as a class online and we use something called respondents lockdown and monitoring. And you must present some form of government ID, like a government picture ID, like a driver's license or passport or military ID, so that you can take the final exam. The whole idea of the proctored event is they need to make sure that the person who registered for the class is a person who actually takes the final exam. So there's a very complex set of software that the school uses in order to proctor, that means supervise a test. And the proctored event has included an important test like a final exam. So that's what it's going to include. Your proctored event is worth 10% of your final grade. Okay. And the final exam is worth 10% of your final grade. So if you don't come to the proctored event, that's 20% of your final grade that you've just lost. So if you did everything else perfectly, got 100% on all the quizzes and all the projects and everything, the highest you can get in the course would be a 80%. Okay, that would be the very highest you can mathematically get if you did everything perfectly. Don't count on everything being done perfectly. So the whole idea is make sure you're there for the proctored event. Okay. I already talked about the no-show assignment and work ethics quiz. The late registration drop add period actually is from January the 11th, 2021 to Sunday, January the 17th, 2021. You can add classes to your schedule or drop classes from your schedule during this period of time. Please bear in mind that late registration, which starts January the 11th, there is a fee that the registrar now charges for that. So please make sure you know that. Okay, here's our course grading quizzes. You have between 10 and 13 quizzes. All of the quizzes together are worth 15% of your grade. You have 3 projects and a proctored event. You'll have a written midterm, a written final, and a professionalism grade. I think I mentioned that the written final is worth 10%. My mistake. The written final exam is worth 15% of your final grade. So the proctored event and the final exam together are worth 25% of your final grade. So that means if you miss the proctored event, the highest you can get on the class would be a 75% C. And that's if you did everything else perfectly. Okay. So once again, the final exam, same time as the proctored event, April 26, 2021 from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. If you have problems or issues with that time, okay, please contact me as soon as possible. Or if you don't have a laptop, because you cannot do this on a cell phone, okay, and you may run into some problems if you have a tablet, or some people have had issues with Google Chrome, with Google Chromebooks. They've had issue with that because that's somewhere between a laptop and a tablet. So if you have a Chromebook or something like that, definitely we need to talk and ask some questions of our tech support and try some things just to make sure that when time comes for your proctored event, you'll be able to participate. After that, we have a semester course calendar starting with week 1, going all the way through week 17. Okay, basically how this works is the first column is the week counter. Like week 1 is the first week from January the 11th to January the 17th. The middle column tells you what you should be reading that week. Okay, like right now you should be reading the syllabus, and if you're watching this in week 1, read the syllabus, read the PowerPoint on the production hierarchy, which is in the course information section, and I'll show that to you in a moment, of Blackboard. And also read chapter 1 of the text, The Shooter's Point of View. It's only 10 pages, so it's really short. This last column tells you what you should be physically doing, like as far as material that you can submit online. So you definitely need to take care of your no-show assignment and ethics quiz as soon as possible. Okay, so that's a reminder there. And also, of course, watch this walkthrough video, which you're watching right now. As we go through the semester, as we move from week to week, we get the dates changing here, and it tells you what you should be reading that week, as well as anything that you're doing. As you can see, anything that you're submitting to the class. As you can see in this last column, you have your first quiz that's due on January the 24th, 2021 by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. It's on 2 things, on chapter 1, The Shooter's Point of View, and the production hierarchy PowerPoint that I assigned for you to read. Okay, so that's the same type of thing as we go from week to week. Week 3, read chapter 3, but we're going to complete quiz number 2 on what we read the previous week. So in week 2, we read chapter 2. So in week 3, we're going to take a quiz on chapter 2. In week 4, you should read chapter 4, part 1. And in week 4, we're going to complete quiz number 3 on chapter 3. Also, week 4, project 1 will be due. That's on basic composition. The project assignment sheet, you can find that in the projects folder in the course content area. Okay, so we move through the semester like that. We'll get to week 8, and you'll see the midterm exam in week 8. Okay, we'll also give you a reading assignment there in week 8 as well. All right, and then after the midterm exam, moving on through March, we're going to go back to the pattern. We have a project due on March the 8th, 2021. Upload that to Blackboard, and you will continue taking your quizzes that next Sunday, March 14th, 2021. Okay, so we're going to continue moving through the semester like that. You can see some long chapters, like chapter 8, for example. They're so long that I split them up into 2 different weeks. I try to make the reading somewhere around 20 pages of reading per week. And there are lots of big pictures in the book, so it's definitely not unreasonable to read 20 pages. But you need to not just read them and just have a familiarity with them. You need to study them, because the quizzes are very thorough. You need to make sure you have studied very carefully. Okay, so we're going to continue moving down through the book, through chapter 9, taking the quizzes. We've turned in a couple of projects by this point in time. And you can see in week 13, April the 5th through the 10th, it is spring break. I won't give you any assignments or quizzes or projects or anything, and you won't have to turn anything in. You have that whole week off. And then week 14, we pick it up from April the 12th through the 18th. We move into chapter 10 in the textbook. We're talking about lighting. Okay, we go back to the same old, where reading a chapter and then being tested or quizzed on that chapter in the following week. Okay, project 3, which is your final project, is due on Monday, April 20th, 2021 by 11:51 p.m. And finally, we have that proctored event and written final exam that I mentioned. We're going to take that on respondents lockdown and monitoring on April the 26th. Now, the semester goes until May the 3rd, but I do not like to wait. I do not like to schedule things out all the way to the very last day of class, because if something goes wrong, if we get behind, which doesn't happen really online, but I never like to schedule things out until the very last day for a couple of reasons. But the most important one is teachers, of course, have deadlines as well, as far as when we have to turn in grades. If I have, like, say, for example, the final exam or the final project is due on May the 3rd, typically more than half the class will wait until May the 3rd to turn in their project. And say, for example, I have to turn in my grades by May the 5th. They always give me, really tight deadlines like that from the school because they want the grades in. I'll have 2 days to grade 15 to 20 assignments or projects, and each project may take an hour and a half to grade. Okay, if you do the math, you can see that in those 2 days between May the 3rd and May the 5th, I will not be going to sleep because I'll be up grading projects so I don't miss my deadline. So I try to avoid that by having things due well in advance of the end of the semester so that nobody's back is against the wall. That's definitely something, a habit that you should get in the habit you should learn. You should assimilate that as far as getting things done early, getting them done well, and getting them done early. If you go to the course information section right here, you'll see that I have a folder called PowerPoints. And in the PowerPoints, here are just a couple of them here, a few of them. There'll be more a little later on. But the idea is many chapters have, not all, but many of the chapters you read in the textbook, I have composed a PowerPoint summarizing those chapters. You definitely want to read the PowerPoint after you read the textbook chapter. And you also need to know that the PowerPoints have material in them that are not in the textbook. You're responsible for everything, the textbook and all the material in the PowerPoints on the quizzes and exams, okay? There will be a few PowerPoints that don't talk about anything in the textbook in general, but like the shots, that's one of the ones that you have to read early on, and you need to make sure you read that as well. So course information, that section is where you'll find PowerPoints, also extra Dmpt 1600 material. I haven't put it in there yet, but by the time you read this, it will be there. So that means like just some things that are not necessarily related to an exam or a quiz or a project, but things that are there for professional development for you. If you're really interested in this kind of work, you really want to dive into the wealth of material that you're going to find in Dmpt, the extra Dmpt 1600 material folder. Also, I have another area here for the syllabus, just in case, another copy of the syllabus, just in case you can't find the other one. All right. The walkthrough video it'll be right here, except it'll be labeled walkthrough video. It'll be a link to YouTube. So the video was not actually on the Blackboard site. It'll be on YouTube. So let's see, is there anything else? You know how to get in touch with me by email. You know about my deadlines, no late work, no extra credit, no makeups, no do-overs. Okay, you know about your textbook. Okay, you know about what you'll be learning in the course. It's more of a lesson cinematography course. Okay, you know about how to get help with Blackboard. All right, and you know a little bit about me. You know a little bit about who I am as your instructor. You don't know much yet, but you'll learn that over time. So if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, thomasj@gptc.edu. Go out and get that textbook. Please take your ethics quiz and your no-show assignment like immediately, and go ahead and read the first PowerPoint that's on the syllabus, and also the production hierarchy, and also please read chapter 1 in your textbook. All right? I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day.